In a small town, summer vacation began with the final school bell. Tommy and Sarah were best friends who lived in the same apartment building. They had made plans to enjoy their summer to the fullest. During the first week, they spent their time playing games in the street, having picnics, and engaging in long conversations in the evenings. However, one day the weather suddenly turned bad, and it started to rain. Tommy and Sarah decided to stay indoors. As the rain intensified, they began to get bored. At that moment, Sarah's attention was drawn to a hospital bus passing by their window. Sarah remembered that the hospital was located right next to their building and came up with an idea, saying, "Perhaps we could visit the hospital and leave some gifts to cheer up the patients." Tommy immediately agreed to the idea, and the two friends got ready right away. When they arrived at the hospital, they noticed that the hospital corridors, which were usually bustling with activity, were silent. There were no nurses, doctors, or visiting patients. Everything was quiet, with only dim corridor lights. Tommy and Sarah saw several closed doors, but they finally decided to enter one particular room. As they slowly opened the door, they heard a strange sound coming from inside. They hesitated for a moment before entering, but curiosity got the better of them, and they stepped inside. The room was empty, but they felt that something was amiss. As they began to explore the room, they noticed a peculiar photograph on the wall. The photograph depicted their apartment building from years ago. However, in this photograph, a terrifying ghostly figure appeared in front of the building. While Tommy and Sarah attempted to examine this strange photograph, the room's door suddenly slammed shut and locked. Inside, they heard peculiar sounds, and the ghostly figure from the photograph detached itself from the other pictures on the wall. Coming to life as a tangible entity, the ghost eyes gleamed, and it regarded them with a menacing grin. Panic-stricken, Tommy and Sarah looked out the window and were horrified by what they saw. Their apartment building was now adorned with the ghostly photograph, and the ghost itself was observing them. The ghost's shadow constantly shifted and writhed, causing both of them to be filled with fear. Meanwhile, strange sounds echoed through the apartment building's corridors. The walls seemed to tremble, and the doors to the rooms opened and closed on their own. Tommy and Sarah could hear the eerie sounds more clearly now. Tommy and Sarah fled from the room and ran down the apartment building's corridors. However, the ghost pursued them. Appearing everywhere they turned, lights flickered on and off, and an unseen presence chased them. In the end, Tommy and Sarah were forced to flee the apartment building, and they never returned. The ghost continued to haunt the building and among the townspeople. It became a legendary and frightening story, one that would forever be associated with that mysterious summer vacation.